Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why I don't make that many videos for novice lifters. And it's something that gets brought up, and I've actually had people say, well, Jason, the majority of your people listening are novice lifters. Well, it's besides the point. I've definitely had plenty of commenters, long-term viewers, including other coaches, people who are trainers, coaches, lifters, things like that, say that my channel, compared to most channels, probably does have a larger percentage of advanced lifters. Okay, and that is a big part of my audience. My target audience, are people who want to eventually be advanced lifters and to be injury-free in the long term. And a lot of people might say, well, you couldn't have that many advanced lifters. I'm like, well, according to my client base, I do. I mean, if I go to the number of people who apply for coaching for me, and who I picked up as clients, if I were to look at the percentage of clients who I get, who are viewers, who have at least a 300 bench, at least a 400 squat, at least a 500 deadlift, or, maybe 2 out of those 3, it's a pretty big chunk of people. Total clients I've had apply in those ranges, and some of them I coached for certain periods of time and then others dropped out. It's double digits. Okay. It's not an insignificant number of people. As far as clients I have now, do I have clients who bench more than 315, squat 500 plus, deadlift high 500s or 600 plus? Yes, I actually do. They're all long-term viewers of my channel, because that's my goal. I assume that anyone who's coming here, as a general rule, if you're hanging out on my channel, I assume you want to bench at least 315. I assume you want to have a 450, 500 squat. Okay? I assume that's what people want. Why else would they be hanging out on this channel? If you don't want to squat 500 pounds, why would you be hanging out here? And if I go based upon what I get in terms of clients or people who contact me for consultations, because I do a lot of consultations for non-clients, I charge $75 an hour for that. I get quite a few advanced lifters who contact me for a 1-hour Skype session to discuss their training, their technique, what they should do moving forward. And we're talking about plenty of guys squatting over 500 pounds. I've had a couple of guys squatting well past 500 do consultations like that. So that is my audience. And here's the thing. When it comes to novices, I have everything already on this channel to make a novice lifter not a novice in 6 months. In other words, if a novice started watching my channel right now, looked at any of my free programs, went and watched my how-to videos that teach you how to perform exercises, right? In 6 months, they wouldn't be a novice anymore. Well, and if they want to hang around and gain other information, they need to be ready for when they're not novices. Because I would say that's the biggest problem I have. I used to put out a lot of information for novices. You know the problem with that? Let's be realistic. I want people to think about it. If you put out nothing but novice information, what happens to your audience? They stay novices for the rest of their lives. They never progress once they finish their novice gains. Once they stall on linear type progression training, they hit their first road bump, they never progress for the rest of their lives if they stick to just watching the novice videos that you put out. Just like if you read Starting Strength, which I think is a great book, I think their program is good. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's very good. Barring the head position on the squat, which I think is stupid. Absolutely stupid, but that aside, their book's good. But if that book is your only resource, you're going to be a novice forever. And I don't mean that in a good way that you'll keep making new games. You're just going to stall. Even then, what do you have to do after you finish the LP? You got to go buy his next book. You got to go buy Practical Programming. Or you got to move on to a different author. I already have free novice programs. I already have tutorials on how to perform exercises. They're all there. They're easy to find. They're in, for the most part, playlists. So if a novice shows up here, finds that stuff, guess what? They won't be a novice in 6 months. So the rest of that 6 months they can spend learning how to be an intermediate. Because what's our difference here? Novice, you learn the basics. You master the basics. You repeat the basics over and over and over and over until you master them. It's about lift mastery. Okay, what's the intermediate about? Understanding the mechanical aspects of your training. Right? It's highly mechanical. It's all about movement, all about biomechanics, all about getting the nuts and bolts of training programming, weak point assessment, stuff that novices don't need. Because a novice, your whole body's weak. Okay, but as you start to drift towards intermediate, you need to start addressing weak points, weak point assessment, fixing weak points, the mechanical nature. The advanced lifter, you have to unlearn that. So you have to start preparing advanced lifters. You have to prepare advanced lifters for, number one, to be in flow state, and number two, specialization. Okay, because those are the hallmarks of the advanced lifter. Everything is about specialization. Either phases of specialization, adjusting what you do on your squatting for bench specialization, which barbells to use, how to balance all of it, how to focus on all your weak points to a larger degree and intrinsically flow with them, knowing when to rotate exercises intrinsically. You have to reach flow state with your training to advance as an advanced lifter. You have to step back from then the mechanical nuts and bolts aspect of the intermediate. All right? These are all distinct things, and I have information for all three types. Why? Because you need to prepare people for all these stages. And it doesn't matter that I have more novices and intermediates and more intermediates and advanced lifters. The novices need the least information. They don't need that much info, and a lot of their info needs to be geared towards making them intermediates. The intermediate is going to have to prepare themselves to be advanced. They're focusing on the nuts and bolts aspect, understanding basic training programming, understanding weak point training. But they're going to have to prepare for the eventuality of being an advanced lifter. And if they don't prepare for that, they will not reach that state. How's that for an answer? They won't reach it. They'll be stuck in intermediate land for the rest of their lives. And the information that's needed is disproportionate in the other direction. The advanced lifter needs the most information. The novice lifter needs the least. So therefore, the information I put out is going to be a large percentage of it towards the advanced lifter. A pretty close to equal percentage of it's going to be towards the intermediate lifter, but they're going to need info also to be advanced later. And then a small amount for the novice, maybe 10 to 20% of my content, because they're not going to be a novice long. Like if someone is here as a novice lifter, I'm not going to have long-term novice lifter subscribers. They won't be a novice pretty soon. If they follow what's here, they look into the info, they follow the basic advice for novices, what, in 6 months' time they won't be one. So why do we need to waste that much information and time on people who need very, very, very little information, and in 6 months they won't need it ever again? right? They're not going to need it after that. It's wasted effort. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.